All right. Hi, everyone. Can I see waving hands, please? Hi. Okay. So, what?
Compensating for all those waving hands. Hello.
Hi. So, I would like to keep it as interactive as possible. Okay. So, if you have anything to say in the middle of when I'm saying, don't interrupt me then. But I'll give you, I'll give you a point of time where you can ask questions. Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Lakshika, and I'm from New Delhi, India. I'm 17 years old, and I'm an advocate of sorts. So I like to advocate for environment, women's rights, child rights, animal rights, you name it, and I'm into it. So although I do not have a lot of professional experience in this field, I do have a lot of tips to share on this particular day. So I would like to recognize all of you as prospective advocates, because if you're sitting here in this workshop, that means you're interested and you would like to become advocates for the cause, whichever one is closer to your heart. So I'll begin now. Malala Yousafzai once said, voices become silent when you are silent. And I believe in that. Because if you don't speak for what you feel, there is no possible way others will ever get to know how important that issue is or what they are not paying attention to. Imagine your favorite public speaker. So I know you enjoy, back in school, you enjoyed Miss Maggie's English classes a whole lot. I would like to bifurcate why you liked her classes so much. So maybe she cracked a lot of jokes, or she compared a whole lot of stories to everyday incidents, or she just made everything look very relatable. She describes things, situations, feelings in such a way that you can feel them too. Think of your favorite activist. Mine's Malala, so you can't take her name. First come, first serve basis. Now, I would like you to ask these questions to yourself. Is your favorite activist funny, relatable, dynamic, confident, charismatic, whatever is it? There has to be some adjective you put in front of their name. That this is why I like this person. Try to think beyond that. Try to think beyond what they said, and more so as to how they said it. What they said certainly matters. So if I'm talking about facts, statistics, what I want to do matters. But how I put it across is something that is in fact more valuable. We are often less inclined to remember what is said if we can't remember how it was said. So if I do not pay attention to how the person was speaking to me, I will not at all remember what they talked about. It's very important to understand how a person's performance, how their conversation implicates us, calls us in, why it makes us want to listen to them, how they make us feel, or how they ask us to act differently. A speaker often feels strongly that the audience would benefit from the message presented. After all, public speaking is a very purposeful activity. So giving a speech is the purpose of providing a group of people with information that is useful and relevant. So I cannot go on talking about my favorite food, my favorite color, my favorite clothes, my favorite brands, my favorite country. I cannot do that. Nobody, that it's not relevant to as many people. However, if I'm talking about water pollution all across Kenya, or female infanticides all across India, or number of people living below the poverty line in the United States of America, that is something people will want to listen to because they feel they can make a change to it. It may sound like a very simple process, but it requires very keen delivery, including attention to verbal, non-verbal skills, argument creation, research, rehearsal, to create a very captivating experience for your audience. Public speaking is so much more than a message. It's an experience. So there's this TED talk I would like to recommend to everyone. It's called The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown. She creates an experience for her audience. You want to listen to her. Whatever she's saying, it feels like you're captivated by whatever she says. Now, that is what has helped me remember that one TED talk. By the way, it came out in 2014, and I remember it after so many years because of how she delivered whatever she had to say. Public speaking can and should remain invested in advocacy, but advocacy can sound slightly intimidating. Now, I mean, if I say I'm an advocate for whosoever's rights, the first picture that popped into my head, at least, versus me wearing a lawyer suit in a court in front of a judge saying, my lord, my client is absolutely innocent. On the night of 27 July, she was only feeding her dog. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not fighting in a court. To clarify, think about advocacy as one or more of the following components. Advocacy is the promotion of an idea, cause, concept, or information. Advocacy includes actions towards a specific goal. So you have a specific goal you're trying to work towards. Advocacy finds solutions to current problems. Advocacy is not constantly cribbing about an issue. So if I'm not happy with the status of women's rights in my country, cribbing about it, talking to 100 people about it is not going to make a difference. What is going to make a difference is that if I propagate a solution to it, if I propagate an answer to the questions the people have. To advocate is to say this idea matters. And I invite each of us to think more deeply about this information. This could happen by discussing an idea that you believe a community needs to hear, or by overtly asking the audience to change their minds about a controversial topic. So here we are talking about environment. And if I simply tell you, you need to stop using plastic bottles, do I have any credibility to say something like that? Why would people listen to me? So that is where public speaking and advocacy and how you deliver yourself, how you deliver your words play a role. I need to encompass everything. So the political situation, the social situation, the economic situation, there are so many tangents to it that without research, without knowing things, if you're going on talking about something, nobody's going to listen to you. When you make a selection to provide a perspective, you are actively supporting that perspective. So if I'm going to say that people need to use less electricity, and I give them hundreds of reasons, I'm providing them with a perspective. This is the glass you need to look at the problem from. If I take these glasses off, I'm not looking at the problem through the same perspective. You're providing a perspective. Of all the arguments, topics, or insights in the world, you've selected one. That is when you've selected advocacy. So if you want to talk about women's rights and you're 100% sure this is what you want to do, that is when you become an advocate for women's rights. You don't need a lawyer's degree to become an advocate. You may be wondering, if advocacy means the promotion of a cause that affects communities, how do I figure out my cause that I find worthy to speak about? There are hundreds of problems. How do I choose one? Believe me, you've done this before. When is the last time you advocated for something? Well, it could be as simple as you talking about how the cafeteria needs to have more organic food, or how people should adopt instead of buying pets, or even why you chose humanitarian subjects instead of STEM. It's as simple as that. You may be thinking about arguing with a friend to boycott fast food chains, or asking an important question through social media. So if I post a story on my social media about animal cruelty, and I'm asking people, how do we solve this issue? Like, there is this feature where you can ask questions and people can fill in their responses. Even that simple act is a form of advocacy. These are all forms of advocacy. You become passionate about these topics and they motivate your engagement around these issues. So as soon as you feel deeply about something, you're going to do it more often. So if I feel deeply about cutting of trees, and I have research and I want to make a change, I will keep on talking about that issue, about the solutions we need to put up. And after a point of time, it will start to make a change. When we advocate, we're balancing our own individual interests with the interests or goals of a larger community or group. We can sometimes over-rely on the first half, that is our own interests, and forget about the latter, that is the interests of the community. Often, what we advocate for, or about what can impact others, both directly and indirectly. While we advocate, it becomes the very basis of the entire argument that ours is based on ethical communication. You could likely list a few key ethics that you personally hold. You may view violence as unethical, you may view plagiarism as unethical, or anything that is societally unacceptable or even personally unacceptable. So if you don't find, for example, if you don't find eating non-vegetarian food ethical, that is your personal belief. You can advocate for that. Friendly reminder, don't copy assignments because colleges don't find that ethical. As public speakers, ethics are fundamental because you're attempting to influence others. If I'm talking about something I feel so deeply about, I am ultimately going to influence people's views, their beliefs, how they view a certain topic. And you have to guarantee that influence is a positive one. Because otherwise, if it turns out in inciting riots, then you weren't really an advocate. You were just a rioter. When preparing for a public speech, there are two key communication ethic questions to consider. First, am I advocating for information in ethical ways? Anytime we communicate, including public speaking right now, which is right now I'm doing public speaking, the content should be crafted with truthful and honest information. Now, it is a fact. It's factual information that New Delhi is the capital of India. But if I go on saying Jammu and Kashmir is the capital of India, I am providing you false information. And if I say it in a very powerful way, you will ultimately believe me. So I am passing on false information. This is where ethical advocacy plays its roles. Ethical advocacy includes, but it is not restricted to, presenting sound and truthful information while proving credit to external sources. So when you are citing something from somewhere, you're quoting someone, always provide credit. Avoid defamatory speeches, false statements that could damage a person's character. Avoid hate speech or language directed against someone or a community's nationality, race, gender, ability, sexuality, region, citizenship, all of those things. Avoid demagoguery or actions that attempt to manipulate by distorting an audience through prejudice and emotion. Yes, while you advocate, while you speak publicly about an issue, emotions are important. If you don't feel about it, people will not be able to connect to you. However, if you're using that in a negative way just to incite the audience to do something in particular that has your own interest, that is not ethical. Second question, am I representing myself in ethical ways? Am I misrepresenting myself? When you ask an individual or a larger audience to listen, you're asking them to trust not just what you say, but also trust who you are. You are establishing credibility, or ethos as a Greek would like to say. Attempts to establish ethical ethos include, but again are not limited to, showing character by demonstrating honesty and integrity, being prepared, avoiding misrepresentations of your experience, expertise, or authority. If we advocate for ideas with reckless disregard for truth, we are communicating in unethical ways. Why is that? I believe everybody has their own personal opinions. Yes, we're entitled to have one. However, if we are manipulating the truth just to convince the audience about something, we are recklessly disregarding everything else. So that would again not be ethical. An ethical advocate would present the audience with all its tangents. So if we are talking about plastic bottles, it is not just the environmental cause that is related to it. There is social cause, there is health concerns, there is also economic cause. Now, we know that plastic bottle, in a factory that makes plastic bottles, majority of the people employed will be from a very lower economic class. If we put a straight up ban on all factories that produce plastic bottles, at the end of the day, we're putting a full stop to their sources of income, their sources of livelihood. Where will they get enough money to even eat one meal a day? As young advocates, we always need to remember advocacy is so many things. It creates meaning, it creates context, it creates cultures. I wish I could transfer my Felix can fix it attitude from Wreck-It Ralph for all those who have stage fear, for all those people who get cold sweats on stage. But unfortunately, we haven't devised that technology yet. Whoever is taking computer science, please invent something like that so that I can like put like courage into people and they won't be scared anymore. I might even take Jasmine's personality from Aladdin, but okay, I have an attention span of a 2-year-old. Never mind. The only way you will ever get comfortable doing something is when you get exposed to it. When you get exposure, you have to start doing it, and only then will you feel more confident. A few tips of what you should do before you do public speaking. One is be prepared physically. Get adequate sleep and rest, drink water, have food if you don't want to faint on the stage. You might want to. I would not suggest fainting on the stage, but if you do, don't eat food. Select what you want to wear a day prior. So that what that would do is that would take off at least those little pieces of stress in your head that, oh my God, what am I supposed to wear? I'm going to the school tomorrow to deliver a speech. What should I wear? That would take that out. Next morning when you wake up with enough sleep and you're hydrated, all you would have to focus on is the speech you're going to give today. Stretch your limbs. I cannot emphasize this enough. Stretch your limbs. Because we all know, even today, after so many years of public speaking, when I go onto a stage to speak, I get an adrenaline rush. I cannot breathe. I am sweating. My hands and legs are shaky. That will never go away. I promise it will never go away. If you stretch your limbs beforehand, that would. So what an adrenaline rush does is it brings in a lot of energy, like excessive amount of energy, which makes you all jittery. But if you stretch before, it will take away some part of that energy and it will lower down your jitteriness. So you will probably feel a little more calm, a little more focused, and it will make you feel a little more confident. Be prepared mentally. Know your reasons, know why you're passionate about this issue, know what you want to speak, what you want to do, why are you there. Know all of that. If you know what you're doing is because you want it, you are halfway mentally prepared. Next, be prepared contextually. Have a scene set in your mind. I will have approximately 15 people sitting in front of me. I will have to climb on a stage. There will be a mic. There'll be people backstage. If you have that in your head already, and you set your mind that I will go up the left side of the stage from the stairs, take 12 steps, move around the stage while speaking, and then start speaking. You already had a set scene in your mind. You know what is going to happen. You feel more comfortable in the situation when you're actually put into it. Know that you know what you're talking about. Because if you believe, I know about it, you can do it. There is nothing that can stop you. Absolutely nothing. Always, always, always be early to the venue, never be late. Because one, when you're late, you're already freaking out, you're flipping. Oh my God, I'm late. Everybody's going to be looking at the stage. Everybody's going to be waiting for me. What am I going to do? What will people have? What impression will people have of me? You're already underconfident at that point of time. And you're bound to go onto stage and forget your speech or do something which you didn't want to do, which wasn't planned. And later on you regret. So instead, be early. Take a round of the place you're going to be speaking at. Talk to people. Feel comfortable. It is your arena. You have researched, you have prepared, you have spent hours writing the speech. You have practiced it so many times. This is your arena. You will kill it. Okay? As hard as it is to believe, you never look as nervous as you feel. So usually what happens is that on the inside, you're feeling like my hands are shaking, my legs are shaking. I don't know what to do. I'm going to forget my speech. On the outside, others can't really notice all of that. So you may feel that your anxiety, your confidence is okay, your anxiety and your jitteriness is 17 on a scale of 1 to 10. The audience does not see it at all. So we as audience also, we can see when somebody is nervous. However, we never see how nervous they really are. So if according to you, your nervousness is at 17 on a scale of 1 to 10, for me, it's going to be around a 3, 4, maximum 5. It will not go above that. To end with, I can only tell you so much about basics of speech writing, public speaking, advocacy. Being an advocate, I can definitely attest to this, that somebody else can only give you ideas to frame your speech. They can only help you place paragraphs here and there, put quotes into it, put statistics into it. But if the audience doesn't see real passion, real feelings in it, there is absolutely no point. Absolutely no point. They will not be able to connect to you. In an era where everybody is really concerned about themselves, if you can make them feel together, connected as a community, there is no way of expression stronger than that. This is what I believe. no strength is stronger than the ability to connect ourselves. So if we can come together, bring a solution to a problem, there is nothing better in the world than that. No government could do it. No international organizations could do it. No military could do it. Only us as a community, as people, as global citizens can do it. Always, always, always remember, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. If something really, really matters to you, talk about it, cry about it, scream about it. After a point of time, people will begin to listen. You will come to the point where people will want to listen to you. That is all I have for today. I hope I did not bore you all. And I hope this is going to be helpful to people, not just when you're advocating about environment, but also about so many other things. So it is not necessary for you to only feel strongly about environment pollution or water pollution or soil degradation. It's not necessary. You can feel strongly about any issue. These points were very generic. You can apply these to any field, right? Also, feel free to text me on my Instagram if you have any doubts at all at any point of time. And I will be here if you need any help, any tips. If there is any way I can help you, I would definitely love to do that. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.